were there certain areas in LA, certain spots in LA that were known to, people, hey, you can go get some weed over there, type shit?
Yes, my neighborhood. All right, one of my partners I grew up with, we all grew up on the same block over off of Carlton. My boy, he had the whole area sold up like Nino Brown. He had it sold up like, and all he sold was weed. All he sold was weed. He had a fantastic connection, and he was smart enough to get a scanner, and he had a cast of walkie-talkies in various areas because where we lived. I lived on the dead end. Cops couldn't come in but one way, and you could see them coming. So if you had somebody on the corner, you had plenty enough time to hide your stash. And my man was very successful for quite some time. One guy on one corner sold halves, the other sold nickels and dimes, and if you wanted something bigger than that, somebody had to run out to the house to pick it up. And he was very successful for a long time. It took the cops forever to catch his ass. It took the cops forever. And the cops almost pretty much, they caught him, but he ended up having some internal issues. It really brought this whole thing down. But yeah, Doc, and my neighborhood, that's why I tell people my old man thought I was selling dope, because everybody in my neighborhood did. We over by where I lived off of Jarvis and Carlton, the neighborhoods around us didn't really do that. They knew to come over my neighborhood to get what they wanted, and it was always like that. And but it was never no shooting back then. But eventually people started getting shot, but in the beginning it was just business, man. It was just business.
No, I love your stories, man, about growing up, and a city that's near and dear to my heart and a lot of people's heart actually is the city of Hollywood. Hollywood isn't as glamorous today as it once was. Now, unfortunately, it's filled with homeless, going back to what we were talking about earlier. They're everywhere. But, there was a time where people came and they wanted to see Hollywood Boulevard. They wanted to see Sunset and Vine. When you were coming up, talk to me about Hollywood. Did you ever go out to Hollywood and do your thing? And, what was Hollywood like back then?
I didn't get to Hollywood till I was damn near grown. I heard about it. And by the time I was going to college at El Camino, I took a lighting class. I had an acting class and a lighting class at El Camino. And my lighting class instructor told me where I could rent lights at. And it was a place on Ivar. I was by there just 2 weeks ago, man. It's not there no more, of course. And I got familiar with Hollywood. And because Hollywood was intimidating at first. Just like you said, people heard so much about it, it could be intimidating. And when you finally got there and realized it ain't all that, it was cool if you wasn't from LA, it could be very impressive. All the stars on the streets, and then you see lookalikes walking down the street like Marilyn Monroe and Batman and different folks. And after a while, you realize they were just hustling like everybody else. And then when I started hanging out at the clubs, I was more impressed with the club life because it was back in the day. Clubs were literally across the street from each other, dude. Literally across the street. If one wasn't jumping, just cross the street. You leave Carlos and Charlie's and go over to I can't think of that club right now. But I tell you, the club that always impressed me in Hollywood, and that was Disco 9000. They made a movie about it and they made a record about it, and it was a club. It was on 9000 Sunset on the penthouse. 9000 Sunset, that's what it's called, Disco 9000. And being that I'm afraid of heights, to be at that high was always a concern. But when you got to party and had a couple of drinks, you stopped giving a damn. But yeah, those were my impressive years of Hollywood, man. I would always go to the Comedy Store. That's where I met Richard Pryor, Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy would come through there, Jay Leno. Everybody was broke. Everybody was broke. Everybody was broke. And it just was Paul Mooney. Eddie Murphy was a kid. And back in this time, man, in the early 80s and 90s, you'd run into Prince at the club. You'd run into Eddie Murphy at the club. It was, folks would just be there. It was Hollywood would attract that kind of crowd. And then they had clubs in Hollywood. Like on Thursday night, they had Paradise. And that was the Black Night. And all the brothers would come to the Black Night. And like I said, if somebody was making a movie or recording an album or something, they went to see what people were dancing to. And this was my experience with Hollywood. Then I started hanging out in Hollywood because of Michel'le, and it got real familiar with me.
Yeah, man. Hey, Stim Radio has a request. He says one of his favorite Lonzo stories is when your brother smoked a joint on the People Mover at Disneyland. Can you tell that story again?
Oh man, my brother loved smoking weed. My brother smoked weed. My daddy was one of the coolest dads in the world. He told us, "I don't care if you smoke, you just can't smoke in the house." I smoked out in the backyard, and my old man never saw me. He said, I can't smoke in the house. I don't want to see you high." Okay. And that was my rule. So my brother moved to my dad's house. My brother would smoke in the bedroom, walk out, take a piss, high as some bitch, didn't give a damn. And grad night, my brother went to Gardena High School, and I guess he figured that by the People Mover being so slow and going through all this darkness, he can get away with smoking a joint. His partner was on the People Mover also, but he was ahead of my brother on another car. And he said, my brother and the date went to the People Mover, and they was talking and laughing. All of a sudden, the People Mover stopped for a hot second, and he got out, and my brother never came out the People Mover. He never came out. And my brother, he said, man, that mouse got all kinds of shit. They took us off the People Mover and took us to jail like it was it took us to Mickey Mouse jail and shit. My daddy had to drive all the way to Anaheim, pick my brother up behind a goddamn joint, smoking weed in the People Mover. My old man was pissed. No bullshit. Disneyland had night vision for decades. All them dark ass rides, somebody looking like it's broad daylight. They've had night vision forever. Okay, you ain't getting away with shit. People think they can go through Disneyland or the Haunted Mansion and dump ashes. Oh no. They're gonna snatch your ass up there ride and take you to Mickey Mouse jail. No bullshit. They say one of the biggest, not really crimes, but one of the biggest headaches is people dumping ashes at Disneyland, especially in the Haunted Mansion.
I didn't know about that. Interesting. First time ever hearing of that.
People, they will ban you. They will ban you for life from all Disney parks for doing it. Because some people, man, it's people. What was I talking? I was talking to my son. He was at Disneyland last week. He said he met a couple. They've been season pass holders for 40 years. They go to Disneyland all the time. And he says people that they had gone with, or one of them died, and they wanted to be buried. They wanted to have their ashes spread at Disneyland. Well, let somebody catch you doing that shit, and they'll fuck around and get you banned for life. No bullshit.
Huh? Makes sense. Okay. Yep. Damn, that's crazy. D-Minor wants to know, did Chris the Glove ever work with you, and what role did he play with Death Row Records? Shout out Chris the Glove. He's been on my show before. Go to my channel and check out the interview with Chris the Glove.
Chris the Glove was a good buddy of mine, but he never worked with me. Him and Dre, he was the one that kind of got Dre on the West Side. I was making underground records, Z-Rocks, cut-ups, house parties, mixed tricks, and Dre and Geller was mixing those records, and Chris he was doing the same thing on the other side of town, and somehow or another, him and Dre hooked up, and they became friends. And I didn't really start hanging out with. I knew of Chris, but I didn't really hang out with Chris for the last maybe 5-6 years. We became super cool. Now, he was around. He was always a West Side dude. You know, him and Ice-T. They had a record called damn it, I forgot the name of the record.
Oh, Slice, not Slice. I'm thinking that's you guys. What am I talking about? I know what you're talking about, though. It's a great song.
Yeah, great record.
Yeah, he was in Breaking. He was a guy in Breaking next to Ice-T.
Right. It used to always wear a little
Michael Jackson glove, for lack of better words.
Yeah, sheath on his arm with spikes and stuff. We never got into spikes and shit. That was never our thing. And he eventually, because him and Dre got so cool. And Chris is a real musician. He's not just he's not a mechanical. He can do shit. And he became cool with Dre. And as a Death Row thing started to develop, he became one of the integral parts of Reckless. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, Reckless. Thank you.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. Reckless.
Yeah, he also produced Pro Broken Lonely.
Yeah, he did a lot. He did the Firms album with Nas and Foxy Brown and AZ. He did a lot for Dre when Dre left. A lot of people know this. You may know this, Lonzo, that he did a lot for Dre when Dre started Aftermath. once he left death row, he was responsible for the been there, done that, a bin rap. You know, he did that. He did a lot of stuff, man. He did phone tap, got your phone tap. What you gonna do? And like you said, he was a musician, dude.
Yeah, he's a musician for real. Yeah, I was with him. Well, we haven't hung out since last year at the NAMM show, but yeah, very cool brother. Very cool brother.
Yeah, man. Well, damn, we got a few more minutes. Let's see. D-Cos says, Lonzo, do you know about Paradise 24?
Hell
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Uh-oh. I feel it's the hell. Uh-oh.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I need a sound effect. Hold on there. Let me find something for Paradise 24. Oh, shit. I can't think of nothing. Hold on. Man. Paradise 24 every Thursday night. Every Thursday night, we went to Paradise 24. Paradise 24 was around in my heyday. My partner, he was on the show a few months ago. Fila Al had a limousine. Fila Al would pick me up, me, him, Johnny J, and a couple other homies would roll to Paradise 24 and not even go in, just pull up in the parking lot. I'm sitting in the limo, popped out the sunroof, and I'd just be looking at chicks. Fila Al was playing that Jerome role. You know, that's my boy Lonzo from World Class Wrecking Crew. I ought to come by and hang out with us for a while. Who's that? Oh, yeah. And no, like fish, they jump in the limo. And we have a ball on a regular basis. That coming to Paradise, going to Paradise 24 was like fishing in a barrel, for real. That's where you would see Prince at. That's when he was hanging out with a big white boy, big chick. He had this big ass white boy bodyguard. He hang out with him. Eddie Murphy would be there. Rumor had it Mike was. I never saw him myself, but rumor had it Mike was in the building from time to time. So all the actors and actresses of the 80s would at some point in time be at Paradise 24 on a Thursday night, folks. Now, it was a gay bar Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but on Thursdays, it was nigga night.
Show up on the wrong night. Oops.
Oops. Oops, you've in the wrong room. Too late.
Oh, man. Yeah, check out that Fila Al interview. There's a very funny limousine story from what I do remember. A limousine and a baby mama, I do believe.
Yeah, she called the house looking for Fila Al. Boy, he left me with all the women. Left home. That limousine turned my car on 2 wheels. That nigga hates ain't no bullshit. He hit the corner like that. That limousine was literally on 2 wheels. I never seen a man grab all his shit. All he had on was a shirt. He had on his pants and shirt. They had no shoes. Everything was in his hand. Threw it in the car and left. I gotta go, Lonzo. Left me with all the women. But we had a ball.
Too funny, man. I love hearing your stories, Lonzo. Always a pleasure. Before we bounce, I'm going to remind everybody to please hit that like button if you haven't already. And make sure you check out the Eve After Dark documentary. I know Jay Roos Theory just mentioned that he saw it and he really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. It's only $1.99 on Amazon Prime. It's a great, great watch, especially if you are a true West Coast hip-hop fan. It's called Eve After Dark on Amazon Prime. And other than that, any last words, Lonzo?
Man, at 9:15, I get to see the first cut of my other documentary, N.W.A. Now Without Alonzo. It's coming, folks. It's coming. It's coming to a film festival near you, N.W.A. And this is right here, man. It's the same brother that produced the Eve documentary, but it's a whole different story. This is my story. This is my story. Wrecking Crew, N.W.A. Club, my connections to everybody. And it breaks down my history, my story in a way that I think is going to be very interesting, folks. My first viewing tonight at 9:15. Dusty, what you doing?
Yeah, viewing. Send me the link.
I want you to be on the link with us tonight, all right?
I would love to, man. Send me the link. I'm there.
All right, folks. I'm out of here. And like I always say, for those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre into surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer till he got cold. On the Eve After Dark, 50-yard line Super Bowl. In the music Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that Hollywood bullshit. It was all cap. My history goes deeper than you'll ever know. Just remember that NWA stands for Not Without Alonzo. Peace, folks.